We will be going into this game 2 of the series, Pays Evelynn Child Support versus Sofanda Cox, in just a moment. After this series, we have the other semifinal series, then the consolation match, and then the finals. So there's a lot more games that will be coming your way on the stream today. Also, I want to say thank you to LoLPro, Curse, Reign of Gaming, and Leaguepedia for helping to put this together. LoLPro.com if you want guides, and if you want to see some Dominion-specific guides, LoLPro.com/guides, and scroll down through that section, and you can see a lot of guides for Dominion there as well. The first prize for this event is going to be $250. Second place makes $150, and third place $100. Fourth place doesn't win any money at all. So for fourth versus third place, that consolation match, there is literally money on the line for it.
Looks like the players are all ready to get into this game now, and we're going to get into it fairly soon. So I am Azaraki Dragon, and the person who you guys are all familiar with casting here today is
Gandair of the gaming clan Vato Clan, and we have hit the champion select screen.
And there goes the first ban, Teemo. Nobody's really surprised at that. Teemo, not only is he pretty strong in the first place in terms of his blinds, in terms of his poisons, but the mushrooms are really one of the big things right there. And if you can get sight over the map, then you can predict movement really easily, and that gives you a pretty big advantage, because part of the big reason that whole mid point is blacked out is so that people don't see those big plays coming where people start ganking the bottom lane, or people cut right through to take one of the inner points. And that's really one of the biggest reasons why Teemo and Nidalee are banned. You just really want to deny that sight. And Nidalee also has quite a bit of poke on top of that as well. And Jayce, Jarvan, like we already talked about most of these champions over and over and over again. Jayce is very strong. He's got a lot of poke, and his acceleration gate also helps with initiations. He can run away with it. There's a lot he can do with that to be able to help, and it looks like they were preparing for the Kassadin ban, and I'm not really too surprised at that one either.
And seeing Confidarius picking up Kha'Zix, that's going to be pretty scary. Kha'Zix is extremely powerful. His damage output single target is so high, he either kills someone outright or forces them away from the fight. He's also difficult to capture as well, and Evolve Leap can get him over walls that other characters cannot. Fancy Wolf, what are you doing? That is Aatrox. You don't know how to Aatrox. Aatrox is a character that's been that's had a lot of criticism put his way in the Dominion community, so it would be very interesting to actually see him picked. Generic Lulu. Lulu is an extremely powerful pick in this game mode. She has 2 abilities that affect movement speed, 2 abilities that affect health, 2 crowd control abilities. Some would say that is too many abilities. There's so many things that she can do in her kit. It makes her a very useful champion. Fancy Wolf locking in Wukong. Wukong is a great pick. He has an armor reduction and AoE airborne. His initiation is great. Nimbus Strike into Cyclone makes for a sudden application of airborne to the entire enemy team, and gives your allies time to get in position. Wukong can definitely be a playmaker in any game.
And one thing I want to actually go back to a little bit, I like what the blue team did there, where they didn't ban Kassadin or Kha'Zix. So they basically forced the purple team to ban either Kassadin or Kha'Zix, and they would pick up for first pick whichever one that they don't ban. Now, one thing I actually think could have worked, since the purple team has the first 2 picks, is that actually if they didn't ban Kassadin at all, and we assume that hypothetically that happens, and the blue team picks up Kha'Zix, then the purple team can get both Kassadin and Lulu on top of that. So I think they might have actually done a little bit better to ban someone other than Kassadin, because that would give them two very strong champions, and that would give them a little bit more of an advantage rather than having one person take just Kassadin, because they would have both Kassadin and Lulu, or Kha'Zix and Lulu. So that's something that was a possible strategy right there. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other picks so far. We have Sin+Rammus, both very high mobility champions, and sort of in different ways. Rammus can get around the map in half a second with Powerball. He's so extremely fast. with that, especially if he runs over a speed relic on top of that. And Lee Sin is sort of the teamfight mobility where he can jump around, safeguard to teammates, use his resonating strike to get towards an enemy, and he can also reposition the enemy team with his Dragon's Rage on top of that, kicking someone out of the fight, using it to secure a kill, or if you can land it perfectly, you can knock one person into some other people, do a lot of damage, and get a lot of CC down. So that's something that's very possible as well. So very high mobility.
And we are seeing Annie, Maokai, and two yet to be locked in. Annie and Maokai. Maokai brings an airborne and a snare to the table, which is very good. Annie brings a stun or AoE stun, depending upon which ability she uses to trigger it, which can be very, very powerful. Annie is also a very durable magic damage dealing character because of Molten Shield. Molten Shield is very powerful and very useful for keeping Annie alive in fights. And I see a Fiddlesticks being locked in. Fiddlesticks is a character that we do not see terribly often in Dominion. Alistar by Painkiller, chosen for the team. Alistar and Rammus. That's a lot of tanky on the team. I don't know who would bottom lane in that situation. You could go sort of more of an AD Alistar, and it'll pick up a Sheen, Triforce, some other weird bruisery stuff that I've seen occasionally in competition, but it's very, very unusual to see Rammus and Alistar on the same team. Arguably more unusual than the Fiddlesticks pick. Fiddlesticks has a lot of crowd control, brings a lot of crowd control to the table. His AoE is amazing, but his damage sometimes can be slow. It has to sort of be stacked up to get it to really apply. So it does take time for him to deliver his damage, but he can deliver it fairly consistently in a one-on-one. Seeing that pick is very interesting, and I'm not sure how that fits into their comp, because I hear things about bottom lane Fiddle, but I've never seen it. I hear things about AD Fiddle, but I've never seen it in competition either.
I think both Fiddlesticks and Rammus are sort of champions that you would rather have go with the pack because of Fiddlesticks' amazing teamfight potential once he hits level 6. You already said he's very, very heavy AoE damage, and when we talk about someone like Rammus, if he is bot lane, then he can go ahead and gank for the top lane, go into those teamfights, but then he would leave the bot lane completely unattended, and that probably wouldn't work too well for him. So I think if they were to play towards Rammus' kit a little bit more and make use of that Powerball, then we might be able to see him go towards the top lane and basically gank towards the bottom lane whenever he gets a chance, or maybe cut in right through to the midpoint. So as to who is actually going into the bot lane, I'm not sure, because even when we think of someone like Kha'Zix, he's probably going to want to stay near the teamfight so that he can get refresh after refresh after refresh on his jump and put out more damage that way and get multiple kills, triple kills and whatnot. So that's something that we could also see. So, like you said, I'm not sure. But one thing that is also worth pointing out, Nerdoc has picked up the AD Malzahar again.
Yeah, he did go AP with it last game, it shows
AP,
that he does. You can go either way with Malzahar, and you never really can tell what to expect at the champion select screen. And both of them are effective. With Blackfire Torch being in the game, AP has been slightly more effective than AD has, but AD has been the traditional way that you play him, so that could go either way once we get into the game. We will probably see him in the bottom lane again. The thing about Malzahar in the bottom lane is he doesn't really have an escape mechanic, unfortunately. He does have a silence he can throw down, but that's really it. He just sort of has to float away.
And right now, I'm actually going to search this game on the LoL Nexus and see if I can look at the rune pages of some of these guys. So Malzahar, Nerdoc is taking magic resist per level, health per level, and movement speed, it seems like. Otherwise, no, he's not. The site's just glitching. Never mind. Or it might be. I'm not sure. Never mind. That was not conclusive. But I think it's magic resist per level, health per level, movement speed. That would probably be... That's what it says. That's what I think is probably right. But at the same time, that doesn't really tell you whether or not he's going AP or AD in the first place. Because magic resist is something that, you get either AP or AD. It's just a matter of survival. So we're not seeing any penetration. We're not seeing any sort of flat damage on either attack damage or AP. So, we still are in the dark about that.
And another thing about Fiddlesticks is it would be very rare and unusual, but equally unexpected for any team, I would suppose, if there was a build for Fiddlesticks referred to as Criddlesticks, where you build him AD, and because of his intense crowd control ability between his silence and his fear, late game he's just able to fear someone and auto attack them down very, very quickly. His attack damage is kind of slow though, unfortunately. Looking at, he has a flash, which is pretty awesome to see because Fiddlesticks doesn't really have an escape mechanic, so he has that to be able to escape with. Although I don't know what to make of Payzone Child Sports team comp. They have 2 tanks. They don't have any AP except for Fiddlesticks. I don't know who their bottom laner is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Lee. Lee could go there. Infeed, though, does a lot of bottom lane for the team as well. The Flash is probably more for using Fiddlesticks' ult than for an escape. We're gonna learn this team comp together, guys.
Well, let's see what they do, because their comp doesn't necessarily look more like a comp. It looks more like these are champions that we really like, these are champions that we want to get. And people like Rammus and Kha'Zix are pretty good champions at Dominion, and on top of that, we also have Lee Sin, who is a great champion in general, and Alistar's really good in terms of team fights, and a lot of times you won't expect the amount of CC he can bring to a fight, and Surprise Party Fiddlesticks, he can come out of nowhere and ult as well as flash to get into the fight. So Kha'Zix, Confidarius actually going to be picking up Cleanse as his summoner spell, so that's basically going to allow him not to get CC'd when he goes in for some of those big fights, and that's really going to help him get refresh after refresh and do what Kha'Zix does best, which is jump around and get a bunch of kills.
And at the loading screen for this Game 2 of this round of 4 match, this is going to be Payzone Child Support versus Sofanda Cox. Payzone Child Sports team consisting of Confidarius playing as Kha'Zix, Buddha Rice playing as Lee Sin, Carnival playing as Rammus, Painkiller playing as Alistar, and Infeed playing as Fiddlesticks. I am one half of your commentators for this Day 2 of the LoLPro Dominion Showdown. I am Gandair, and co-commentating with me is
Azaraki Dragon.
And who do we have on the other team?
We have Fancy Wolf on Maokai, Generic on Lulu, General Wukong is being played by Cercio, and Kadoan is on Annie, and Malzahar is going to be played by Nerdok once again. He's probably going to go in the bot lane again. So you said Infi is one of the players on Pays Evelynn that likes to go bot, that he goes bot quite a bit, so we might see a bot Fiddlesticks. However, if that were to happen, then they would be missing out on his ultimate in terms of those initiations. Yep. Of course, it's always possible that he could roam around a little bit, or even swap up where once he hits level 6 or level 7 when he has his ultimate, he would go towards the top lane and swap out with someone else. That's a possibility, but like you said, I don't really know exactly where their mindset is at as a team.
Yeah, it looks like they're showing Lee bottom, and that means they're going to have Fiddle up top. So they're going to have AD, AP, 2 tanks up there. Now, you know, tanks, don't sell tanks short because they do plenty of damage. It's just not nearly as bursty and noticeable. But when Tremors is up, when Powerball hits, when Pulverize lands, I mean, you'll see some numbers come up.
Oh yeah, and looking at the starting builds, nothing too out of the ordinary. Malzahar is going for a sustain bot lane, where he's going for the mana regen, as well as the Crystalline Flask for the potions that it gives, so he's going to be able to survive quite a bit in that bot lane. However, he's going to miss out on some of the raw damage that he gets from the Prospector's Ring, which is something that he would benefit from, I would have to say, but I guess the tier is a little bit more prevalent to him. He's already starting to stack it a little bit, and Malzahar is a fairly spammy champion, so it should be able to work out for him a little bit, but we'll see how he fares against Fiddlesticks without that damage and without that extra health from Prospector's Ring.
Both teams move. It's going to be Alistar, Painkiller Alistar bottom lane, so things make a little more sense. Alistar is a useful bottom laner. He's very, very durable, and it's difficult to get him out of the lane. He's very gank resistant. So up at the top, looks like we're going to see a fairly balanced, more standard comp overall. And Fiddle going for the poke at the very beginning. And we're going to see we'll see who decides to engage in this opening fight. There's going to be a lot of back and forth poke on this tower. before anything happens, unless Carnival's turn. Manuel Liar is going to go in immediately. Lee Sin with the safeguard in to catch up. Damage on Caden right away by Fiddlesticks as the fight goes on.
And it looks like they will be starting to win that fight. Generic being taken down next, and Fancy Wolf is in the middle of the fight. He's doing quite a bit of tanking, but unfortunately no one is low enough for Caden to finish, and it looks like, not going to be able to hit the health relic in time, and they're going to be able to take that top. Once again, already in charge of this game, Pays Evelynn going to be taking the windmill at the first point of the game. So one thing that we actually didn't mention before was the fact that Fiddlesticks has a ranged way to stop multiple people from capping a point. If he throws out his Crow, then I think it's Dark Wind. Yeah,
yes.
If he throws out his Dark Wind, then that's going to be able to interrupt multiple people at a time. Buddha Rice getting caught out.
And Buddha Rice doesn't really have a way to escape from that. There's no one to safeguard to, and there's no one to shockwave out through either, unfortunately. So he did not have a way to remove himself from that engagement that he found himself in. And Fancy Wolf catching Confederaris. Confederaris is going to get sent back to some of the platform, but there's a good airborne from Painkiller, puncturing taunt on Cersei. They want to drag him into that tower range. Defensive Garrison activated on the tower to prevent it from going neutral. Nerdok with a very good another grasp on Rammus in the bottom part of that tower. The point has gone neutral, however, but Painkiller decides that he's had about enough of Malzahar's floating and grounds his flight.
Oh yeah, and you were talking about floaty champs before, but Generic in the top lane, the ultimate actually stopping mid-dash. The Buddha Rise not able to actually get off that resonating strike after his shockwave, but it looks like, he's going to be ulted at this point. He's going in for it. The resonating strike able to pick up the kill right there, but Generic going to be able to pick it up on him. So Wukong is down for the count, and they're going to be able to muscle them back off of the windmill. So, already this game, Sofanda playing a little bit better. We'll have to see how well they can do this, but Carnival in the middle of the fight, Tremor as well as Fiddlesticks ultimate putting out a lot of damage. Caden is now being taken down by the drain, and there goes the last Tremor proc. Will be able to pick it up. Fancy Wolf, two tanks fighting each other, but it looks like Kha'Zix is here now, and there's nothing Fancy Wolf can do about it. He's going to be taken down, and even though the point was neutralized, it's going to go back into Pays Evelynn Child Support's favor.
And Painkiller's still doing a lot of bullying on Nerdok, taking advantage of his health to be able to dive in and deliver damage, and then moving back to pick up relics before circling around for another round. Wukong coming down from the top, may want to go for the gank. No, he's going to go for the tower instead. Knows that Painkiller's Alistar may be too weak to get into a straight-up engagement with him. Crushing blow on Buddha Rice. Cersei is retreating, cannot decoy because of the vision. And Buddha Rice, does not get tagged by the Glitter Lance right away, and is going to be able to retreat. Nerdok tries to intercept, and is able to help his team in doing so.
And it looks like Fancy Wolf is going to catch out Confedarius, but it looks like Infi is now the one who's going to try to save him. Oh no, the Tibbers is going to lock him down, and that's going to be enough to end up picking up the kill. Infi is going to deny that relic as well as heal himself a little bit more. I don't really think he needed it to escape, but it was an escape nonetheless. Painkiller being able to tank through most of Nerdok's damage. He's going to be able to pick up the relic, however, going back up to about half health. The Malefic Vision's ticking down on a Painkiller. The ultimate has run out, so he's going to be able to use the Nether Grasp without any of that damage, but the extra 10% damage allowing Painkiller to pick up that kill. Meanwhile, there's a fight in the top lane.
And the top lane, Infeed flashed through the wall, using it to escape from combat, and Carnival now by himself at the top point of the map. Generic and Carnival having a little bit of a disagreement of sorts. Puncturing taunt is delivered, and Buddha Rice comes in with the safeguard in through Infeed.
And it looks like Buddha Rice is now the one who's getting caught out a little bit by that knockup, but he's going to go back in for it, kill Caden, and as well as Confedarius in the top, denying that relic as well as killing both Maokai and Lulu. And now Cersei is trying to do as much damage as he can, trying to stall for as long as he can before they end up killing him and taking this windmill once again back in their favor. 456 to 349. They're in control of this game once again. Pays Evelynn Child Support doing very well, but Painkiller is now the one being caught out. And there goes the quick kill. There was not really too much he could have done about that. Carnival going to Powerball back into the bottom lane, seeing if there's anything he can do. However, Confidarius is now here in Kha'Zix. He's going to be able to not pick up a kill quite yet. And there goes the stun onto him. He's getting ticked down by Malefic Visions. And, oh, just barely going to stay alive after that. Getting the refresh. Going to try to jump back in, but unfortunately getting taken down by Wukong before anything would happen. Cercio going to be running away from that point. And Buddha is now back in that lane and getting killed by Fancy Wolf right there. The ultimate able to save his life, and it looks like Cercio now almost being killed by Envy, but a great health relic fate is going to save him, and he's going to be able to pick up the kill. Meanwhile, Painkiller going to try to kill Kaden, but he's going to have to back off as Malzahar is there.
Guys, I'm sorry about the camera. Someone keeps knocking at my door, and I can't get up to answer it. I'm gonna have to do that between games, but it's... maybe I'm being too loud or something, I don't know.
Well, hopefully that gets sorted out a little bit. And meanwhile, Nerdok is going to try to counter push into the bot lane after that fight ended. Not necessarily won the fight, but oh, the minions might be able to slow push this, but Painkiller's got quite a bit of wave clear, especially with his passive, and he's going to be able to take that back. Nerdok just trying to be as annoying as possible, but it might end his life at this point, because Painkiller is just about to try something. There goes the ultimate, not taking any damage from that Void Pool, nor the Nether Grasp, and he's going to be able to escape while Kha'Zix comes back in for the backline. Confidarius just, oh no, he's going to be taken down just at the last second. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have another engagement as Cercio gets taken down right there. Double kill for Carnival. That Tremor doing so much damage in the full team fight. Infi, his ultimate also was able to put out quite a bit of damage. Actually, I didn't use that in that fight. Sorry, I wasn't able to see it the entire time, but Generic now taken down really low. The shield is just able to save him. They're going to back off from it. They sent him back. They have the control, and they're going to be able to take the windmill back in their favor.
And Generic able to leash that and save himself from the drain from Fiddlesticks. And both teams having to recall a little bit of a reprieve in what's going on at the moment. Pacey and Child Sport in control of the game for the most part, I would say. They're up at about 100 Nexus health above the enemy team at the moment. Lots of Merc Treads coming out on Sofanda Cox's side of the map. They want to make sure they have that tenacity. It's a very popular item due to the skirmish nature of this game. Fancy Wolf, unfortunately, being found. Cercio tries to bail him out with the Cyclone, but that's just 1-on-3 into another 1-on-3, and those are not terribly good odds, unfortunately. Tibbers almost defeated. Carnival wants the money from Tibbers, decides to make a withdrawal. And Infeed with the fear on Kaden. Kaden catches him with the stun. Carnival around from the back, lands the puncturing taunt. Kaden and Confidarius' Kha'Zix erases Annie from the map.
And they're going to be able to do a lot around the map with this as well. Most of all, just keeping their pressure all around. They have all three of their of the points on their side. They have the windmill captured in their favor, so it's 3-2 in terms of those towers. Carnival's now being chased out a little bit. Cercio almost picking up the kill. He gets the health relic. However, Fancy Wolf is here, and he's going to be able to pick it up with an Arcane Smash. And on top of that, it looks like Confidarius and Buddha are going to make their way towards the top lane and try to stop this cap. Confidarius going on to Generic, but the Polymorph is going to be able to stop him from doing that. Fancy Wolf now going to try to kill Confidarius. Snare just a little bit too strong. Unfortunately, he can't do anything about that. Buddha is now taken down really low, but not before he kills Cercio. Going back into the fight. There goes the kill onto him. However, Carnival doing so much damage. Tremor is certainly something that is underestimated in this game right now, and he's picking up even more kills up in that top lane.
And Fiddlesticks sweeping the fight in feed with the ultimate. They are going to be able to turn the point around and retain their 3-2 cap for the moment. Annie moving around towards the bottom part of the map. Looks like she wants to get in touch with Painkiller. Painkiller has a lot of magic resistance going for him. He has a Ninja Tabby, and he has a Spirit Visage and a Negatron Cloak as well. So he is very tanked up against any magic damage dealers. Buddha and Carnival coming down as well, but they're pushing down the lane, which gives Sofanda Cox's team ample opportunity to run away. Rammus bopping into a minion did not help his case any, unfortunately. Kha'Zix heading up towards the top part of the map as Infeed's Fiddlesticks moves back towards the point.
And Buddha gets caught out right there. He just dies right there really quickly. Nerdok doing a lot of damage with Malefic Visions and Nether Grasp in the top lane. Looks like Cercio is going to be taken down, and Fancy Wolf is soon to follow suit as Confidarius jumps in as well. He's going to try to kill Infi, and he manages to succeed before dying to Confidarius, but at this point, both of the objectives are down in the bottom lane. Unfortunately, Painkiller has been left alone, and he's not going to be able to defend this on his own, but Carnival is now back in the fight. Tremor is already back up. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage, and Nerdok is the first to fall.
And Caden now trapped in a very bad position. The headbutt knockback. And are we going to see the pulverize in a moment? No, it's not going to be necessary at all. We just needed Kha'Zix to get a hit in on Annie to take her out. FancyWolf on his way back up towards the upper part of the map. Looks like he's going to move around to the drill and get rid of some of the minions. However, Cercio and Generic, too close to Carnival and Confederaris, potentially for their own good. It looks like both sides are going to break off from that engagement.
And engage they will not do at this point, but Carnival is looking for a little bit of trouble, tries to powerball out of it, but FancyWolf is going to catch him. Cercio is also knocking everyone up. Caden almost landing. There is the Tibbers, going to be able to stun quite a bit of people. Actually, no, that wasn't a Tibbers, that was just a straight up stun with Flamethrower. Carnival is now taunting Caden, but it's not going to be enough, and there goes the Confederaris. He's getting the refreshes, he's doing quite a bit of damage, trying to kill Generic, but unfortunately that's not going to work. Cercio just barely dying, his clone is all that's left, and it looks like they will once again prevail in the team fight. They're going to be able to take that objective in the bottom lane, and it looks like Nerdok is going to see if he can arrive there fast enough to do something about it, but it's 2v1. Let's see if he can make anything happen.
They have a lot of minions there to help them as well, and no, Alistar with the headbutt is going to secure that capture, so that does extra damage to the enemy Nexus and gives them a damage buff going into the next couple minutes of the game. Generic tagged, and Buddha Rice goes for it, gets whimsied for his troubles and taken down by Cercio. Painkiller not going to be able to kill Nerdok today, it seems.
And he's going to be chased down by Painkiller right now, just kiting them away. Generic doing a great job of landing Glitter Lance after Glitter Lance to make that happen. Caden almost caught out right there. The Tremor is ticking down, just barely able to get away. Carnival probably looking to land a Powerball, and it looks like he will. Just barely able to kill Annie at that point, and Infi is now on the run. Fortunately, the rest of the fight didn't end too well for him. Buddha Rice getting caught out by FancyWolf, but is FancyWolf really the one being caught out? And as three members of the team turn on him, however, Infi does die, but it looks like Cercio going in a little bit too far for that kill, and he's going to get taken down really low. One last ability is going to be able to secure the defeat right there, and they're going to be able to pick up that kill as well. Still in control of the map, 376 to 61, and there's only 1 point on the map right now for Sofanda. You're not looking too good in this game right now, as FancyWolf is getting caught out a little bit as well.
And FancyWolf having a retreat from Buddha Rice, and Carnival twisted advance through to escape. Carnival being stunned, Fancy could go for that, try to kill him, does not land the Arcane Smash, unfortunately. And Carnival low, oh, the twisted advance does connect, and Rammus is defeated. Circling around for Buddha Rice now, but Confederaris' Kha'Zix finds FancyWolf, able to deliver a lot of damage to him very, very quickly. But Maokai is the type of Maokai with a lot more AP than normal. And Fiddlesticks with the Crowstorm surprise party is going to be able to arrive and clean up that fight.
And with this constant action, we haven't actually been able to talk about it, but Malzahar, Nerdok actually went for an AD build this game, so switching that up from last game, I think a Painkiller probably expected the AP from Nerdok, because he did go for the Spirit Visage, but it looks like it won't really matter that much anyway. In a convincing game, Evelynn Child Support wins the second game, 365 to 0. They are a full year ahead. I'm sorry, that was a bad joke.
That's okay. And that means Evelynn Child Support will advance on to the finals, and Sofanda Cox will drop down to the consolation matches. We do have one other semifinals game to bring to you, though, before we get to the prize-winning games. We'll bring those to you in just a couple of moments here.